each other. KO Carolina Jackpot Hall.
The South Carolina Gamecocks are weaker than a plate full of piss.
The Rob and KO podcasts.
Let's go.
And welcome in to the Rob and KO podcast.
I'm not ashamed no more. I want to do the thing.
Appreciate you guys checking out the show. Jackpot, we got a lot of things to get into this evening. How are things in the upstate, sir?
Things are going great tonight. Couldn't be better. Team Lardass is at it here. I'm the American Lardass. If you remember, the Undertaker was once known as the American Badass, and I arrive on my motorcycle. I'm the American Lardass. So,
does your hat really say American Lardass on it?
It does.
Holy shit! Is that from the Uncle Lou store?
No, this is from Amazon store.
Well, Uncle Lou should be selling those.
Available trucker caps available for $20, something like that. Yeah. Sir Uja says, appreciate you starting the show 4 minutes late. No, your watch or cell phone or whatever is actually 4 minutes fast. Something wrong with it. It's 9 o'clock over here.
It's sort of like the whole thing with the Royal Rumble where it's Titan time. We'll start when we get goddamn good and ready. How's that sound?
There you go. There you go.
All right, so we have things we're going to get into tonight, including Alabama hired some folks I thought was interesting. We can get into that. We can get into there was a Florida fan that was running his mouth back and forth with Jackpot and I. Yes, there are still Florida fans that talk shit. Yeah. They have not all died.
Yeah. Well, that was on the Twitter thread, and I don't think that he I don't know if he got the point or not that the gentleman that's a radio host here in the upstate, Mr. Ryan, is actually a Florida graduate. I mean, and he was saying something nice about the Gamecocks. So, yeah, that Florida fan can go piss up a rope. He was barely damn literate. He didn't use his turn signals and all that good shit. So, that's not really somebody I want to listen to.
Shout out to Aaron Tribe Mange saying, "Oh, we don't care, we don't care." That's
we don't care, we don't care.
Jackpot, can you please explain the cover photo because you sent me that? Jackpot's in the parking lot. Go ahead and finish the story here, Jackpot.
That was in the parking lot yesterday of the Kia dealership. It's Kia of Anderson. It's actually in Pendleton, South Carolina. We've been dealing for a week and a half with an idiot at Kia in Greenville. I don't want to go into the story, but we went to the dealership in Anderson, and there was a Jeep out there. I don't know if it was a waiting service or had been traded in or whatever the fuck. But it had something scribbled up at the top, and I was talking to the sales guy, and then with her, and he went inside, and I noticed it said something, and then it says, "I don't care." And I said, huh. So I walked over there and just wrote in the dirt on the back of the windshield, "Oh, we don't care. We don't care."
Can you imagine being at the car dealership and your car is there getting serviced and, it needs washing, and Jackpot walks up with his American Lardass hat, which is what his hat says. I didn't make it. That's what his hat says.
And I did have it on.
And he writes in the back of your car, "Oh, we don't care. We don't care." Jackpot. God damn it. The only thing would have made it funnier is if you would have went live while you were doing it. That would have been even the funniest shit ever. So
Uncle Lou says Bama fans pretending to be excited about Auburn reject Steele and Tommy Fry as Reese. Did they hire Kevin Steele for a coordinator?
They hired. I was going to get into that with you. They hired Kevin Steele as their defensive coordinator. Now, bear in mind, we're going to talk about our sponsors in a second. Kevin Steele had to get fired by Dabo Sweeney for giving up 70 points in a fucking bowl game.
I remember that.
coordinator at Alabama now. So good luck, bro. Good luck. That's all I can throw out
So
on that.
who did Auburn hire? Who did Hugh Freeze hire?
Hugh Freeze, help me out there. The Auburn defensive coordinator is, hold on, I'm Googling it right now, is Ron Roberts, is what it says online here. I don't know who the hell Ron Roberts is.
I know there's a guy named Robin Roberts who was a shortstop for the Phillies back in the 1950s. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Ron.
According to the Montgomery Advertiser, I thought it was Advisor, but it's the Advertiser. Well, you could get it $1 for 3 months. Hugh Freeze is known for his ability to orchestrate offense between himself and new offensive coordinator Philip Montgomery. The defensive side of the ball is where Freeze needed to bring somebody in. He brings in Ron Roberts, who's been a defensive coordinator since 2018. 11 years of head coaching experience split between Delta State, I don't even know where that is, and Southeastern Louisiana. Anybody know where Delta State is?
Delta State, I think Delta State is the Okra.
It's Okra? Okay.
Yeah, there's I don't get into it. There's this group I was in years ago on Facebook. We kind of like adopted this as a it was like kind of a thing with the guy that ran the group. They're called the Statesmen or something. I think they're at the Division II, like in the conference with Valdosta State and teams like that. But they're called the Statesmen. That's the official nickname, but they call themselves the Okra. They have a stuffed okra mascot.
Your mascot at Delta State is the Okra. All right, then.
Marty Reinhardt confirms, yes, it's the Okra.
Thank you, Marty.
They did. They had like a guy and a girl one. You know, like NC State has the guy and the girl Wolves.
So wait a minute. How do you have a guy and a girl Okra?
I don't know. They had like one stuffed with a bow tie and one with a bow tie up here, like it's in her hair.
Did did they give her like some boobs? Is it an Okra with boobs? That's how you tell the difference?
I cannot answer that, but
well, God damn it, Jackpot. You're supposed to be the expert on the Okra from Delta State.
Well, I'm not an expert on it. I could barely damn remember it, and it's just jogged my memory. But
I am not going to hear that. You are an expert on every damn thing, and you need to tighten it up, sir, because that's what we expect of you. You're an expert on everything. I bet I could throw out anything your direction. You can give me 30 seconds on it and be somewhat entertaining.
Well, thank you for having so much confidence in me.
Yeah, I have confidence in you, but stop slipping. Next time, know what the damn Okra does.
Sir, UGA wants to know if you're wearing a WWDD What Would Dabo Do bracelet.
No, this is a bracelet. On one side, it says champions dominate, and on the other side, it says don't be a little bitch.
Sir, UGA, I can answer that for you. He'd cry.
What? Oh,
He'd
man.
cry. That's what Dabo would do. He'd cry.
Kentucky Urban misses our Christmas trees. Well, if you stick with this show long enough, we'll probably, wife, are we
go back and watch some old episodes?
Yeah. Go back. The archives are there. The wife says she'll put up a tree next year. So,
will you read James Thompson's comment there?
Yeah. Did you feed Ziggy?
Yeah, no, I haven't fed him in 3 days. Actually, I'm trying to see if I can turn him into a skeleton. Yes. He eats all the time. He has food like in a perpetually, it's in a gravity thing that just comes down as he eats it. And then he eats a can of food once a day.
Oh, there you go. All right, let's thank our sponsors, Callaway's Bar and Grill, Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. We also have, go by and check them out, Highway 1, diagonal from the Walmart in West Columbia. Golden Tea Lounge, all kinds of great stuff there. Big Barney Ross says he's coming to Columbia. He's going to go to the Golden Tea Lounge and try to drink all the bourbon at Callaway's. We shall see. Also, we have Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport. No, Dennis did not lead the army that shot down the weather balloon yesterday. He did not have the Swansea militia out there shooting at the damn Chinese weather balloon, but he thought about it. He really did. But he does sponsor the show with Fireside Chats with Uncle Jackpot. Jackpot, read away.
It sucks to be a Gamecock. Gamecock fans are so happy about what they think is going to happen this coming season. When we Gamecock it up and go 6-6, the bandwagon fans will jump off the wagon. It sucks to be a Gamecock. Go Tigers.
That message courtesy of Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport. And I that's out there because, you know, I've seen it. Dennis has seen it. You've got the hardcore Carolina fans that are like Jackpot there who will go and watch them if they're 0-12 and they're down 64-0 at the half. He'll go watch the second half of the game. Guys like the Comrade who'll tell you, yeah, we lost 63-0, but we're still a better team than you are. I'm not talking about those fans. I'm talking about the basic bitches who are now showing up because, hey, they won 2 big games at the end of the season. Those are the fans that won't be there if South Carolina goes 6-6 next season. So there's that.
Devin Hayes says Carolina has a tough schedule. They have a tough schedule pretty much every year.
Big Barney Ross says Dennis Wilson shoots 2 more balloons. He'll get a stuffed animal from Wish.
Big Barney Ross is all about these balloons. I mean, you know,
If that thing flew over Kentucky, Big Barney Ross would have shot that bitch. I have absolutely zero doubt about it. There's 2 people I know who handle balloons in the sky. Big Barney Ross has got the Midwest side. Dennis Wilson's got the South. I don't know anything west of the Mississippi. I mean, I don't know who else would do that, but those 2 would take care of it. What?
Kentucky is not in the Midwest.
Well, I think he's got the whole region, dear. Wife says that's not the Midwest. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't understand. Why was that thing not shot down until it crossed the entire country? Was that what? I mean, did they think it was going to be dangerous if it landed or something?
Right.
That...
Now, according to stuff the wife and I read, just the steering mechanism was the size of like 3 school buses. So if you shoot this thing down, apparently, now once again, I'm no expert on balloons, but if you shoot this thing down, the debris could have fallen on someone's house. You imagine something the size of 3 buses hitting somebody's house. Not good. You could actually hurt somebody. And I think that's why they waited for it to get out to the sea. No clue.
Yeah, well, I mean, people were on the internet, and everybody on the internet knows everything, and they were talking about
posted some video where they shot it down on the channel last night. My favorite is everybody's blaming one political official over another, like we've dealt with this before, and they're just sitting around saying X, Y, and Z did this and X, Y, and Z did that. It has nothing to do with it. They had to wait until they knew where they shot it. It would actually fall into the ocean and wouldn't hurt anyone. So,
well, I mean, they could have, if it had flown over it, which I don't know if it did or not, but they could have shot it down over Lake Superior. Have you ever watched a video, or do you know anything about Lake Superior? There's all kind of shit on the bottom of Lake Superior. There's a house on the bottom of Lake Superior, like that was being moved. Like from one place to another, and they put the house like what? No. Okay. What it was? That lake freezes over in the wintertime, like I guess to the point where you can drive across it in some spots. Well, like at some point, like in the mid 1900s, some point in time, someone was actually driving a flatbed truck. With a house on it across Lake Superior and the ice cracked somewhere at some point, and I guess they bailed out of the truck and just had to let the house sink. And I mean, it still sits on the bottom of the lake somewhere there.
I've heard that like at Lake Murray, they've got like cemeteries that are under the water there and all kind of shit right here in the Midlands. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's apparently under Lake Hartwell, which is the big man-made lake that creates the dump beside Clemson University. Well, Clemson's the dump. That's the lake. We called Clemson the mistake on the lake. and the dump on the hump. That the mistake by the lake. There's actually a town underneath that lake. Yeah, that they flooded out. They moved everybody out of, and they flooded it out when they built the lake.
Brock says the female okra complains all the time and thinks her life is a million times harder than the male okra. Newsflash, they're both vegetables. Life's going to always be hard for them from the jump. Very good.
Well,
sir.
they can do what they want to do. I mean, maybe he likes the plainsman. Maybe he identifies as a plainsman.
I got nothing.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Maybe she identifies as a male okra.
Oh, God. Do we have to talk about that? All right. Anyway, Jackpot, the Alabama, I wanted to bring this up really quick with their two coordinators. They got the Notre Dame coordinator, which is interesting because he played at Notre Dame, and he said, you know what? I'm going to leave my alma mater and go to Alabama. And I'm going to go down there and go and work for Coach Nick Saban, which, let's be honest, he's not exactly the easiest guy to work for, according to everything that you read. I mean, but they do win, so maybe that's part of it. Maybe he thinks he'll go down there and learn something. I don't know. But then the whole thing with Kevin Steele is like, he's like the Brooklyn Brawler, in my opinion, because he's been everywhere, and it seems like he's been a loser at a lot of different spots.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was so surprised when I saw that Alabama was hiring him. I thought that was just, huh? Y'all said that. That just kind of made me do a double take. Why?
Why? I mean, you're Alabama.
Isn't this also a little bit late not late in the season, but isn't this just a little late in the process to be hiring a new coordinator? I mean, unless one of yours takes an NFL job, I guess, which they wouldn't interview people until, a couple of months after college football is over with, but it seems to be a bit far along in the process to have to replace people. But, then again, Shane Beamer did make the great hire of Marcus Satterfield a couple of years ago around this time. I think it was around this time when Mike Bobo packed his Pinto up in the middle of the night and drove down to the Plains to start his new career. And we see how that worked out for him. Just like it should have, just like he deserved it to.
Well, anyway, with Bobo, you're not going to get me to say nice things about Mike Bobo. That guy's a fucking idiot. So is the defensive line coach that left too. Screw those guys. But no, you would think Alabama would be able to get whoever they wanted. It's just very strange. But here's the thing that gets me though. Alabama fans were upset with their offensive coordinator, and they averaged over 30 points a game last season. Think about that for a second. If your offensive coordinator got you 30 points a game, Jackpot, I mean, what in the blue hell are you bitching about? I mean, I can understand
I don't know. Did he not coordinate the offense when they absolutely blistered a pretty good Kansas State team in the bowl game?
Yep.
I mean, what were they like? Maybe like a 3-point favorite in that game or something?
Yeah.
It wasn't much. They absolutely blew him out. So where is he going? What's his next?
O'Brien went back to the Patriots. He went back to the NFL.
That's
now,
right.
O'Brien is a failure in the NFL. He traded Nuke Hopkins for a bucket of baseballs to the Arizona Cardinals. He is a dumb. But he's going to go up there and work under the hat of Bill Belichick and try to steal some more money from an NFL team. But the guy put up numbers in college, in my opinion. And I don't understand why Alabama fans were so upset over that. The defensive coordinator, I can get when you get gimmicked up like they did by several teams this season, it just eventually you got to make some changes. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of stunned by the whole Kevin Steele thing. Holy shit.
B2B Advisor says maybe they see the writing on the wall. How funny it is that we're talking about Nuke Hopkins and somebody's over in the comment section talking about writing on the wall.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there you go. That's what he said.
That's a
John,
shitty comment. I don't want to hear any
John,
shitty comments
John
tonight.
over in the comment section said Saban's first choice was Glenn Schumann from Georgia, but he declined. I mean, well, can you blame him? I mean, and here's my thing. I mean, now is going to Alabama. Is that even a promotion? If you're leaving from Georgia, would you? I don't know.
Well, if you're at Georgia, why would you make it? It's not even. It's kind of taking a step back unless
Is
you.
Georgia the new Alabama? Maybe.
I mean, they've won 2 straight national titles. What the hell else can you go with? They're the current Alabama.
Yeah.
If you want to go out. So anyway, Sports Talk with Tom Bailey says Kevin Steele was Nick Saban's first defensive coordinator at Alabama. Well, that was Saban's been there since what, 2000 whatever year.
2007.
Yeah, so in 13 seasons, what the hell has Kevin Steele done? I know he got 70 hung on him at Clemson by a fucking warped out West Virginia team.
Big Barney Ross says, how come nobody's talking about Nebraska, the Cornhuskers? Because they're not any good.
Yeah, there's that too. All right, phone lines are open. We're on a jackpot. We're on a 7 day bubble now where I haven't hung up on anybody. Let's see if that can continue tonight.
Yeah.
803-470-2905. Jackpot will tell me when to hang up the phone. I will not hang up on you out of if you're a nuisance or just stupid. I won't hang up on you. Jackpot's going to remotely control the phones from right there. 803-470-2905. 803-470-2905. If you would like to join the show, let's go to the phones and welcome to the program. Good evening.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hello, how are
Great.
you?
I'm doing good. It's good to check in with you guys after a brief hiatus.
You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I missed talking with y'all a couple of times a week here. So I wanted to make sure I called in today. And someone in the comment section had asked me if I had called in yet. I don't think I have. I think this is my first time calling in today.
If you miss a show, they start thinking bad things like is Uncle Lou here or there or somewhere else? So I'm just saying.
I think he was ill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you consider me to be a regular caller into this show?
I believe so, sir. Yes.
I believe so.
Okay, good. This is my favorite call-in show, so it's good to be a regular. I feel like when I call into this show, it's like when Norm walks into Cheers. You know what I mean?
We try to be inviting.
Yeah, y'all are very inviting. 2 things real quick. Number one, I feel bad for South Carolina fans because Nicholas Harbor isn't any good. But, he's a 5-star, so South Carolina fans are excited just like they were when they got Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm torn because, I don't like South Carolina, but I do, I don't hate them so much that I don't want them to have, like, anything to be excited about. So I don't blame them for being excited, just like I didn't blame them for being excited about Spencer Rattler. But it is going to be sad when reality comes crashing down and they realize that Nicholas Harbor isn't any good. And I just think that's sad. What do you guys think about that?
Uncle Lou, if he sucks, why did Georgia offer him?
Oh, I don't know. A bunch of people offered him, but unfortunately, he's just not any good.
Okay. I mean,
Georgia needed someone to stock the bench.
Okay, because I mean, he had 42 offers, one of them from the 2-time defending national champion. I mean,
yeah. Well, Georgia wanted him just to run track, though.
Oh, okay. So it was just
Georgia just wanted him to run track.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about is I don't know if it's too early to do this or not, It is the off season, so to speak. But one of my favorite things to do in the off season, besides just looking forward to the start of the season in general, is in particular, I like to look at early season non-con games, games we don't see all the time. So like, I'm not talking about Clemson and South Carolina. Like we see that every year. I'm talking mostly about the games we see in the beginning of the season.
Sure.
Like one-off neutral site games or these back-to-back home and home series or whatever. How about these great rematches coming up this year? LSU and Florida State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas and Bama, Texas A&M and Miami. 4 pretty good games there. There's a bunch more, but in particular, LSU and Florida State, and then Texas A&M and Miami. Now, LSU and Florida State are going to be in the top 10 in a lot of polls, so obviously that'll be that game will get a lot of attention, which is good because it didn't get much attention last offseason because nobody expected either of those teams to be any good. Now, they both ended up having pretty good years, but they're not sneaking up on anybody this year, so that's kind of the marquee non-con game early in the season. If you look at the list, I mean, Ohio State and Notre Dame are both highly ranked, but Texas isn't highly ranked, and then Texas A&M and Miami aren't ranked at all. That LSU-Florida State game is going to be a good one. And with Texas A&M and Miami, 2 unranked piles of doo-doo there, but doesn't that feel like a must-win game for both teams? How is either of those teams going to lose that game and then carry any momentum forward into the rest of the season? That feels like a must-win game for both of those teams. Your thoughts and analysis?
Yeah, you're probably kind of right there. It's important for Texas A&M to go and have a good showing, especially against Miami, the way they ended up the season. Yeah, both of those teams were very, very disappointing last year for sure. So whoever loses is definitely going to be a step behind the other. I think the LSU Florida State matchup. I'm with you, and I heard what you said about them today during your little show, your little mini series of ranking 25 through 21, 23, and that last year, that nobody kind of expected that to be what it was, and that Florida State really didn't have a good win outside of that, and I kind of believe that to be so. And I think LSU is going to exact a measure of revenge on them this year. I think Florida State's a little bit overblown, and I could see LSU win that game by 2 scores. Let's not forget they didn't win the SEC East. Didn't have a great showing against Georgia in the SEC championship game. It wasn't horrible. It was definitely better fight than TCU put up in the goddamn national championship game. So I think LSU is pretty formidable. I still scratch my head at their game last year against Tennessee. I don't know what happened with that one. And also, people are forgetting too, there is a pretty pivotal non-conference Power 5 matchup early in the year between my Gamecocks and their home away from home, Bank America Stadium, where the Carolina Panthers play against the UNC Tar Heels. So that's going to be a
fun game. That's going to be a good one too. Yeah, that one's in Charlotte.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that game being a 40-something to 30-something game for sure.
Hey, the winner could go 8-4.
Hey, what is West Virginia doing? Now they play on the road at Penn State week 1, then turn around and have to play Pitt. What are they doing?
That. They have a tough
bowl game.
They have a tough road to hoe. I noticed that. They're trying to, reinvigorate the rivalry with Pitt. I forgot what they called that game.
Backyard brawl is what they used to call it.
Backyard brawl, and then they're playing Penn State too. So that's probably going to be a couple of L's for them right there. They haven't even started the conference season. It was weird looking at their schedule too. They got Cincinnati on the schedule, I think, and then UCF's on the schedule, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're in the Big 12 now. So all those schedules had to be redone.
Yeah, and they play. So I don't remember if they play Cincinnati on the road or not, but yeah, West Virginia, that early season non-con schedule, and then Colorado, another team that's going to be tough out of the gate. They got to play on the road at TCU week 1, and then they host Nebraska week 2.
Yeah,
and I noticed that with
they got your cousin Dion there, Coach Prime. So
I noticed with Cincinnati, their first game as a member of the Big 12 is a home game against Oklahoma. And now, who would have thunk it a few years ago if you were looking at that Cincinnati will most likely be favored in that game against Oklahoma.
What a mess.
if you look at the Big 12 schedule, it's pretty obvious the Big 12 is trying to stick it to Oklahoma. Their schedule is brutal. The way it sets up with when their away games are and multiple away games in a row.
Yeah, they got to go play the bicycle at the bicycle college late in the year or two.
Yeah. All right. What about the Florida and Utah rematch? Florida's first road game in the non-conference against a Power 5 opponent outside the state of Florida in over 30 years.
I believe the last time was a game against Syracuse.
Yeah, and they lost.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was like
1991.
1990 or 91. They lost on the road at Syracuse. That's the last time they played a non-conference road game outside the state of Florida against the Power 5 team. And they got to travel to Utah. And, they get Cam Rising back. I was kind of surprised he came back.
Yeah, Dabo taught him how to lose to Syracuse on the road.
Yeah. And one more I want to ask you about, too, that's interesting to me. This one's in week 2. Oregon on the road at Texas Tech. Texas Tech, sleepy good.
That's an interesting game there. Yeah. Texas Tech, I remember you said about them, too, last year. Did they beat Texas and Oklahoma the same season last year?
Yeah.
They're on the come up, man. I watched them last year in like week 2. I think they played at NC State. I watched that ball game, and they didn't play real well there, and they lost. But I guess they kind of turned it around later in the season. I don't know if they can hang with Oregon or not. And Bo Nix, you'll have to see.
Yeah,
be a good one.
All right. Well, last thing, and then I'll let you go. This is for my friend Rob. Rob, you got any idea where Nicholas Harbor is going to be transferring in 2024?
Well,
the NFL.
Not to Georgia because he's not going to run track there. He already turned him down for that. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think he's going to transfer. I think he's going to stay there. I mean, I don't know. South Carolina seems to have an in up there. Marshawn Lloyd was up in that area. They seem to be able to recruit that area up there. So we'll see. I mean, I've talked to some people and they're like, I don't know where he's going to play. I mean, he's lightning quick supposedly, but is he going to be a defensive end? Is he going to be a wide receiver? He's kind of a guy without a position. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. You gentlemen have a good evening and hug a Bama fan if you see one. They got to spend the next 8 months pretending to like Tommy Reese.
I really don't want to get that close to the smell, but thank you.
Big Barney Ross says number 20 Ole Miss versus number 19 Tulane, most anticipated game at Yulman Stadium. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Also, thank you, Tex Tiger, for the super chat. He said, "Go Tigers." He wanted us to hang up on Uncle Lou, but we're not hanging up on people unless Jackpot says so. Can't do it. Welcome to the program. Good evening.
Hey, it's Chris in Georgia. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
You guys keep mentioning Kevin Steele's performance against West Virginia, but let's just look at last year. I mean, the man allowed MTSU, who scored, I think, like 18 total points against like James Madison, UAB, and another Sun Belt school. They scored 45 on them, and then FSU scored 45 on them, which FSU is a decent team. Duke, who wasn't known for their offense, scored 45. Pitt scored 40, and Clemson scored like 42 on them, or I may have those two mixed up. I mean, that's 5 schools scoring over 40 points on you. One of them being a group of 5 school, and Alabama sees that after a year where they just gave up their most points ever under Saban, and they're like, yeah, that's the guy we want. That's who we need to go get. Like,
maybe there's just this thing of like, all right, maybe Nick Saban's going where he's gone before. I don't know. I just think Kevin Steele. I just think fucking Geno. Was it Geno Smith or who the hell was that quarterback for West Virginia?
I think it was, but
yeah, so
I mean,
that Clemson defense had 4 guys that played in the league. So it wasn't like debunked of talent. There was talent on that team, and they go out there and get 70 hung on them. It just looked like shit. So that's what I think when I think of Kevin Steele. So
yeah, and then Tommy Reese, I just don't know. He's never been known. Notre Dame's never been known for just developing a good quarterback. That's kind of been Brian Kelly's biggest issue, and I don't think it changed under Tommy Reese and Marcus Freeman. But I mean, you need a quarterback. You ended up not being able to get one out of the portal that you wanted, even though you offered them 7 figures allegedly. And so now you've got to take these 4 quarterbacks you got in your room, 2 of which are true freshmen, one of which is a running back, Jalen Milroe, and the other one who you guys wouldn't even give a chance when Jalen Milroe was stinking it up. You wouldn't even give him a single rep. And one of those 4 guys are supposed to be your future at quarterback, the most important position on the field. And I don't know, man. Like, I think is Alabama going to go 6-6 next year? Unlikely. But I mean, while they were 4 points or whatever away from 12-0, they were also that many points away from 8-4, so, or 7-5. So, I mean, it could be a bad year for Bama. Kevin Steele's not really known for being the guy that locks teams down when you need them to. His defenses don't really bow up when their backs are against the wall. Every big close game Auburn ever won under Gus Malzahn when Kevin Steele was there was because of a special teams player of the offense. It was never Kevin Steele stopping a team from scoring. So I don't know. It'll be exciting to watch. We've all wanted the downfall of Alabama for about a decade now. So everybody outside of Tuscaloosa and random fans in North Carolina and Mississippi and shit that are Alabama fans will be the only ones visible. But
anything else, sir?
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I know Lou was going in on Nicholas Harbor. I don't see him. It sounds like they need him immediately for this year, and I just don't see it happening because I don't think his Olympic coach is going to let him play. They're probably going to have to redshirt him because the Olympic coach is not going to let him play contact football while they're prepping for the 2024 Olympics. Like, I think he may have just been kind of a splash hire or a splash signing to boost the class, but it's the earliest you get to see him is 2024. And if he does well in the Olympics, I doubt he ever plays football. We'll see. It's a good signing.
That Olympic coach can go piss up a rope.
Hey, Chris, thank you for calling, man. We appreciate it.
That's his dream. All right, man.
Thanks a lot. All right. Notice I did not hang up on Chris.
He seems to be, when I've seen him on Twitter, Instagram, or whatever, he seems to be all in with Gamecock football. So I don't know about all that. I think it sounds like not sour grapes, but
well, maybe he wants to play there. Who knows? Lisa says Uncle Lou has a great voice for phone sex. Holy shit. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, good day. This is Sports Talk with Tom Bailey. How y'all doing? Alabama fan here. Y'all was talking about some of the schedules. I read on Miami's schedule that they're traveling to Bethune-Cookman to play a game. I don't know if that was a misprint. Do y'all know anything?
I think that's a misprint.
True?
It says that I'm looking at the Miami schedule on the ESPN website, and that's a home game for
okay.
Miami.
Okay, yeah, because it said at BCU on their schedule. I'm like, So I'm like, that's kind of crazy. But
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Unless it was a misprint, I don't know. I mean,
right.
Why would you go to Bethune-Cookman to play? But
I don't know either. I've actually seen a game. I actually seen a game in Bethune-Cookman Stadium. They used Daytona Beach's stadium, and when I was a kid, or the community I lived in at the time, their high school team played their state championship game these.
You know what Bethune-Cookman ought to do is they ought to invite another HBCU down to Daytona, and they play the second college football game on a racetrack, and they can coin this one the HBCU NASCAR National Championship, kind of like the Vols did a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
Sir, that would be funny. Hey, I do have a question for you, though. You mentioned that you're down there in the land of Alabama. Are the folks pissed with the two coordinator hires that Nick Saban has made?
I guess from social media. Actually, I'm a truck driver. I'm on the road. I'm actually in northern Indiana tonight. But I think some fans are kind of upset about the Kevin Steele hire. A lot of them was Jeremy Pruitt was the fans' favorite to get the job.
Yeah.
The rumor is they was going to try to promote Grantham to DC, but
I
wouldn't have been thrilled out.
Now, bear with me for a second here. I wonder if Saban wanted Pruitt, but the SEC said, you know what? Maybe there was a conversation that was had that was like, you know what? This guy was at Tennessee and they had to fire the entire athletic staff on the football side over there and the AD. Maybe you shouldn't have this guy on your staff. Maybe it was like a show cause that no one was going to know about, but Sankey's like, fuck off. You can't have this guy. Find somebody else.
Well, here's the funny thing about that is Alabama a couple of years ago was trying to hire Hugh Freeze as the offensive coordinator.
Sure.
And that was the situation with him. They actually said, well, you can't hire him.
Right.
And then turn around. Auburn
Hugh Freeze, sir, it's a completely different thing. Hugh Freeze had a problem with the ladies. And he was calling them up on his phone and getting whores by the dollar. That's fine. He had to go to Liberty to find Jesus, and that's fine. They didn't want to hurt his quest to find the Lord. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Jeremy Pruitt is just a known fucking cheater, and his wife's a cheater too. She was on a compliance staff, and she's a cheater too. This guy shouldn't coach anywhere in the country again ever.
You know how Jeremy Pruitt got into college football is because he was a defensive coordinator at Hoover High School. Well, Nick Saban was going to hire Rush Carouse as player personnel development. That's the job Jeremy Pruitt first had at Alabama. But that was right when the two family story came out about Rush Carouse having the two families during that time. So Saban and Alabama decided not to hire Rush Carouse. They hired Pruitt instead. So it's kind of
you could put put those two together, Probst and Pruitt, and it's just a sack of shit. If we back them both up, that's what it would be. Just a huge sack of shit.
But with Tommy Rees, I'm kind of optimistic a little bit. I went back and looked at some of this. I know Notre Dame statistically didn't have a great offense, but the play selection, he likes to run the ball a lot more than Bill O'Brien. So I'm kind of optimistic because where Alabama struggled at the last 2 years, Alabama couldn't run the ball worth a damn. I mean, like a couple of years ago, we beat LSU in Tuscaloosa in 2021, and we only had 5 yards of rushing the whole game. So, the inability
trying to go to war with you here on this, but Alabama went to more of a spread type offense where they would have the running back go 1 yard down the field. They flipping the ball. It's essentially a running play, even though it's booked as a passing play. So, I mean, that's kind of hard. I mean, they averaged over 30 points a game. I don't think Bill O'Brien's a piece of shit. So, I mean,
Jahmyr Gibbs was pretty good last year running the ball.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs was, and let me plug in right there if I may.
Sure.
I think Bill O'Brien overall was a good offensive coordinator.
Sure.
I think a lot of Alabama fans got mad at him. His situational play calling in certain situations wasn't that great. Like, for example, against the game we lost at A&M in 2021, we threw a pass in the red zone when we should have lined up and ran the ball down their throat. And then this past year at Tennessee, on the drive when we missed the field goal at the end of the game, a lot of people said we should have ran the ball, forced Tennessee at least to use their timeout. And then there was some situational play calling there with Bill O'Brien.
You can pick one play here or one play there, and I'm fine with that. But I don't know. if you told me I could pick between Reese or O'Brien, and that's going to be my offensive coordinator, I'm going with O'Brien. Reese hasn't proven enough to me yet to say, hey, we're going to give you the keys to this top-ranked offense as far as talent goes. We're just going to say go after it, especially with the savage Alabama fan base where, hey, if it's not a national title, fuck off. So
yeah, and that's another thing I want to ask y'all's opinion on. With the way the playoffs are now structured, going to like Alabama went 11-2 last year. And that's a great won the Sugar Bowl. That's a great season. I mean, 20 years ago that would have been an awesome season. But with like the playoffs is, and I was talking to Megan on the phone earlier about it. Like you take Clemson last year. Clemson actually had a decent season, but when you're a program like Alabama, like Georgia, like a Clemson, like an Ohio State, if you go to a major bowl game and go 10-2, it's a failure now.
Yeah, well,
if you're actually grouping Clemson with those teams, that's okay. That's kind of crazy.
But I mean,
look at it from this perspective. If Georgia goes 10-2 next season, the Georgia fans are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" I mean,
but if Georgia goes 10-2 next year, everybody's gonna be saying that because if you look at Georgia's schedule, what two teams are going to beat them?
I think Uncle Lou's tired of hearing about the fucking Georgia schedule too. I will
say this. Let me plug this in.
He's tired of hearing about that damn schedule.
Well, I will say this. The reason why Georgia's schedule is weak, and I'll be fair to Georgia, is because the SEC made them cancel the Oklahoma game.
Yeah, well.
I get Georgia's kind of put in a bad situation, so they had to go out and find, I forgot who else, but they had to find a lesser opponent. So they was Georgia's kind of stuck in this situation where, they really had no control over how weak their schedule is this year. I think that was out of their control. So I don't beat Georgia up for having an easy schedule. I'm just saying, looking at Georgia's roster and looking at the 12 teams they play, I just don't see anybody on there that could match up with Georgia next year, unless Georgia has a disaster of a game.
Sir, I appreciate you calling the show and bringing us the flavor of the Alabama fan base, even though you're up in Indiana right now. Thank you for that.
You're not near Gary, Indiana, are you?
Am I not? Where am I? What city you asked me, Gary?
I'm near Gary, Indiana, are you?
No, sir. I'm past Gary. I'm in what they call Burns Harbor, Indiana. I'm about 10 miles east of Gary.
I was about to say, if I was there, I'd stay locked up in that truck. I heard the lot lizards there they'd probably pull out pistols and steal shit from you.
Sir, before you go, can you give us a lot lizard report for Indiana, please?
There ain't none here where I'm at.
So there's no lot lizards there. Very good.
Well, lot lizards. Very rarely this day and age, lot lizards walk the truck stop parking lot. Most of the guys that do that kind of thing, they usually go online and find their dates now. So it's. Well,
I'll give you the advice that my chief engineer gave us when we were let off the boat in New Orleans, when we went down to the yard in New Orleans like 20 years ago now. He said, if you're paying for a prostitute and she's giving you oral pleasure and you look down and her shoulders have more muscles than yours, hurry up and finish. Thank you, Chief.
Well, I don't mess around with people like that, so I don't worry about that kind of thing.
Be careful. You could get a bad life. Kale's looking out for you too, man.
That's true. Hey, I got some dirt on Peg and Megan if y'all want to hear it.
Oh, you have dirt on Peg and Megan. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. The folks in Georgia are telling me that he lost his virginity to Stacey Abrams.
Are you sure about that?
That's what the rumor is.
Well,
that's what the rumor is. They say it might be
Peg and Megan, and she probably pegged him. I would not doubt it.
Yeah, probably did.
Sir, you stay safe on the road, all right?
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
I
never know where this fucking show is going to go. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Big Barty Ross says the caller steals copper. He also says Gary, Indiana has 3-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, and KFC gravy.
They closed up the KFC near my house.
Welcome to the program. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Matt.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, am I coming through loud and clear?
Speak your mind, sir.
Well, for a second there, I thought tonight's show was going to be a 2-caller show, and I'm glad that that's not how it turned out.
All right. What do you got for the program?
But then third of all, I just wanted to say that I just wanted to ask if Rob has figured out his schedule for March 3rd through 5th yet.
I will not be going to the Slob Olympics.
That's what you said last week, but then by the end of the show, you said that there was a chance that you might come up for the day.
I have talked with the wife. The wife is going to be out of town that weekend, so I will be here at home.
Well, that's a bummer.
I'm sending Kale to win the whole thing for me. He's going to win the entire show. He's going to wear his American lard ass hat there, and he's going to take home everything. Kale's been reading books on the side and doing all kind of stuff, training for this. I have no doubt that he will do the show proud.
I've been doing calisthenics too at nighttime before I go to bed. People, and when I wake up, everybody just don't know all that much about it, but I have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I'm glad to say that, one part of the dynamic duo is coming to the Slav Olympics.
B2B Visor says the wife called her shot and the wife said, no, she told me I could go. She's going down with my daughter to visit some friends, and I will have my son here. So there you go. I'm not gonna bring my son down and do all that. We're just gonna hang out here and ride around on the golf cart.
All right, fellas. Well, I know this is a football show and that, so sure. I appreciate you letting me call in, and I just want to say that Georgia's living in Bama's fans' heads rent free.
Went free.
Yay!
Twisted Rooster says Jackpot is dressing up as the big boss man. I'm actually going to dress up as the one-man gang.
No, you're going to dress up as Akeem, the African
That's
dream.
right. Akeem, the African dream.
You're only a foot shorter than he was, but that's all right.
You hear this dog? This dog is over here snoring. Sounds like a freight train.
I would go. I have stuff I've got to take care of that weekend, man. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see here. You will get Big Barney Ross says you'll get kicked out of the Slob Olympics for having a concealed belly button. Shit. Anyway. But yeah, the Alabama folks, I wondered how they were thinking about that and how that was. I mean, it seems like they're not really happy with that. So we'll see. We'll see on that. Jackpot, do you want to talk about what G.G. Jackson said on his live, or are we just going to say it's just a kid being 19 years old? Let him talk.
Is he even 19?
Oh, he's 18, 19, whatever.
Because he's supposed to be a high school senior. Actually, I mean, he's that young. He was just he forgot, I think, for a minute that he's a kid, but he's not just a kid. All eyes are on him. He's expected to be like a leader on that team, which is unfortunate because he's too young to be the leader of that team. Somebody else should be the leader of the team, but he's got to be because he's the best player out there.
Right.
And all eyes are going to be on you. And I guess he forgot that there's such a thing as a share button on most people's telephone devices, so they can, take that live stream that you did and broadcast it out to the world. But I mean, it was because it looked like it was just like basically him talking to his friends on the thing. I don't think he said anything that out of the way. I don't think that I don't think he was that out of line. He's just a little bent out of shape at the end of it. And I mean, what he said did make a little bit of sense. I mean, it was the last, they had a chance to win that game, which they made a really good comeback in with a 3-pointer. Why does the ball go to the fucking center out on the perimeter?
Well,
They
you
didn't.
know,
They get that play wasn't executed the way it was drawn up. I don't believe.
he did say that he thought that, hey, he's not going to try. He's staying or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
So
think,
if you say that, I mean, if you listen to that, it was actually a good live. I mean, for South Carolina fans, I mean, ain't that what you want? I mean, I don't think he is. I think he's bullshitting, or I think he's just kind of talking out of his ass. I don't think he.
this Gamecock basketball team has no post presence. That's part of their problem. And, he's still young, and I don't think he's quite the prospect that everybody thought that he was going to be. But, I mean, he's definitely shown signs where he could be really good. But Chico Carter is the best player on the team right now, and not everybody really knows that unless you follow them. All right, let's go out to the phones. Welcome to the program. Good evening.
Hey, how y'all doing? I tried to give other people an opportunity to call in, but now no one's calling in.
Sure.
So I'm going ahead and calling back in. Now I wanted to address the situation about the slander directed towards Georgia's schedule, if I may.
Yeah, I figured you were tired of hearing about that, so I was trying to send some of that
Yeah.
off for you. But go ahead.
I could see where you might think that, but I'm not tired of hearing about it, and I'm not tired of talking about it too. Now, there's multiple issues here. Number one, it's not Georgia's fault that Florida sucks, or that South Carolina's an 8-win team, or that Kentucky's headed in the wrong direction, or that Eli Drinkwitz is getting fired after this year, or that Vandy is Vandy, or that Auburn is in a rinse and repeat mode with head coaches.
Or
None of that is
how
Georgia's
about
fault.
Georgia can't play themselves? It could be that too. Alabama has that problem.
Well, that's
in the
other
West.
thing.
Yeah.
And you're a Clemson man. You've gone through this recently. The better of a team you are, the harder it is to impress anybody with your schedule. Now, with that being said, the Oklahoma situation, it's BS about the SEC forcing Georgia to cancel that game. The SEC office has zero say-so in who Georgia plays in the non-con. None. Now, what the SEC could have done, and I think what they should have done, is they should have said, okay, Georgia's got this game scheduled on the road at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's return game in Athens isn't scheduled till 2029. Oklahoma's joining the SEC in 2025. Here's what we're going to do. Georgia's going to play at Oklahoma this year, but the first year that Oklahoma is in the SEC, they're playing a road game in Athens. Year one. They could have done that. We could have kept the Oklahoma game. Here's the other issue, and this doesn't have anything to do with who we're playing. It has to do with where we're playing. One out of every three games that Georgia played last year was at a neutral site. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we trying to take college football away from college campuses? One out of every three games was played at a neutral site. Oregon,
well, one out of those three was a playoff game, right?
Well, Oregon, LSU, Ohio State,
Florida,
TCU, and Florida. The Florida game is the problem. If I was a season ticket holder for Georgia, I'd be raising hell. If fans complain that no Georgia games come on at night, okay, well, how about play Florida in Athens every other year? Why are we still playing that game in Gainesville? It doesn't make any sense. The problem is getting worse. We talked about LSU and Florida State earlier. That's great that they're playing 2 years in a row. Guess how many of those games are played on a college campus, though? Zero. They played one in the Saints building, and they're playing another one somewhere in Orlando for no fucking reason. Why?
Are they playing in the bounce house?
Why are you making LSU and Georgia? Why are LSU and Georgia begging to drive an hour away from their own campus to play neutral site games?
Mickey
doesn't
Mouse
make any
wants to see a
sense.
game, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand the whole let's play these these out of conference games at a neutral site. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I agree
it's
with you
so
on that.
dumb. Schedule a home and home. I don't like the fact that we played Clemson in a one-off in Charlotte. It should have been in Clemson, and then this year or next year or last year or whatever, y'all could have came to Athens. And we have one of those scheduled 5 or 6 years down the road, but same thing with Oregon. Oregon travels all the way to Atlanta. Okay, great. Get off the plane, get in a bus, drive an hour, play in Athens, and then next year we'll fly out to Middle Earth or wherever the hell Eugene, Oregon is, and play out there. But they don't do that. But that's it. My rant is over. Now, before I go, can I address someone in the comment section, please?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? It's Uncle Lou here. I want you to close your eyes and pretend that I'm there wearing nothing but my Georgia robe and championship belt. And I'm rubbing cocoa butter on your knees while you hand feed yourself Tommy fries one at a time, and the gooey cheese and ranch dressing dribbles down your chin. Then I'm going to go into the kitchen and I'm going to bring you some of my world famous boiled peanuts. You're going to put two at a time in your mouth and suck Uncle Lou's salty nuts completely dry. Then I'll reach into my grocery bag. In my grocery bag, I have 3 clothespins, a ball of string, a rubber mallet, and a gently used pair of socks. If you want the rest, give me a call. Have a good morning.
I think we should.
I can't top that.
Yeah, I think it's time to end the show. Thank you guys for checking us out. We'll be back at it Wednesday. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Jackpot's on Twitter at Hall_Kale. In case you want to have an adult conversation, you can go over to Twitter and go that route.
Wait, real quick, did we say? Did you see where the Gamecocks did get a commitment for the 2024 class on Friday?
I did. I read something about that. Yeah.
Mazio Bennett from Greenville, South Kakalaki, commits to the Gamecocks. So,
Big Bonnie Ross says, "Thank you for the super chat. 50 Shades of Grey Poupon."
Thank you very much.
Fair enough. Gamecocks are, I think they're number 6 currently in the 2024 class. I know it's early. So, but yeah, to being ranked that high, I mean, Shane Beamer's putting it down over there, man. And I think it's good for the state for South Carolina to not be an afterthought. It really is. So, yeah, I mean, and look, if you're in this state, I mean, would you like to get to a point where South Carolina may scare Georgia a little bit? Georgia's thinking, man, fuck, we got to go down there and play. Those 75,000 idiots in the middle of the damn ghetto waving the white flag of surrender to the techno song. We don't want to deal with that. Hell no.
Yeah, last year's game was an utter embarrassment. That you know, that's one thing when you play those folks that they've got to be focused next year or this year, whatever. When they play them, there was no focus this past season. It was that was a blowout from start to finish.
All right, one more call and we're out of here. Welcome to the program.
Hey guys, it's me, Justin. How y'all doing?
Justin, how are you? I seen your Facebook post earlier. How you doing there, friend?
Good. Hey, well, I try to adjust a lot of my pairs up, but man, it's hard to deal with this arrow right now, man. It's just hard to watch this basketball team, you know.
Yeah, they're not very good, sir. You know, you're a tall gentleman. You should go out and try out. You might make the damn team.
Oh yeah, I could help this team get the W's, you know.
I mean, you seem like you want it more in the paint than those guys. So I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right, take care, guys.
You have a good night, man. We'll see you later on.
Hunter Slay over in the comment section says these recruits going to shit when they get there and realize how bad it is. LOL. Huh?
Sir Uga says he's disappointed.
They took official visits, I think. So it's not like they're going in with a blindfold on.
Yeah, don't get upset, Sir Uga. All right, Jackpot. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later on.